Hello and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan read-through podcast. My name is AJ Faleri, and I have not read the series, and I'm reading it for the first time, along with my best friend and closest confidant, Peter Bond.
Oh, the ultimate plot twist coming for you, baby. What's up? Number one on the call sheet today. What up?
What's this fucking accent?
Also here is the Morty to my Rick, India Jones.
Okay, love to hear it. That's me. Hello, everyone.
And last but certainly not least, the Gaba to my Ghoul, Joshua Deaton.
Oh, even the middle name today. Damn. Hello, I'm here and very hungover. This is the energy I will be bringing.
A gabagool.
Right, so Josh,
You gobbled your last ghoul, Josh.
Also, AJ, my fucking audacity does not look good. I'm just warning you now.
it does not.
My silence is oh shit, that's why it's doing that. It's doing that fucking thing where it auto adjusts the volume of my mic. Yeah, I see you fucking doing it.
You know what? I'm leaving this in the podcast. I'm the host today. I'm the editor.
AJ's
Everybody
God.
also needs to know what I deal with. So this is
I think
this
that's
is how it goes.
You know, this is a good look into the life.
All right, AJ, I have fixed the problem.
Great. Wonderful. So today, this is obviously a Malazan read-through podcast where we read through the Malazan Book of the Fallen series. Today, we are talking about Reaper's Gale, chapters 10, 11, and 12. 140 pages of what I think some of the best chapters of the book.
Wow.
You say that every time.
I don't think I've ever said that. Stop it. I don't know what you're talking about. So I didn't think of an intro bit. So Pete, you are counting something fierce.
He's talking to himself.
I don't know why.
1, 2.
And he hears us, and he's just
I
ignoring
feel like
us.
we're like a beautiful mind right now.
AJ,
Like,
you got to cut it off from the show. I was trying to see if I remembered my Spanish numbers. That's what I was going on. Sorry that I was doing that whilst you were introing
What,
the show.
dude? This accent, I'm gonna lose my mind. We're doing it.
Chapters 10, 11, and 12.
That's what I was trying to say. But so that's what I was like, I should say that. And then I was like, wait a second. What are the fucking...
Now that we've got that figured out, why don't we get right
that was
into
a bad
it?
intro. Should
It
we
was
say
a bad
something?
intro.
Should we maybe say something funny? Josh is hungover. That could be fun.
Yeah, Josh, why are you hungover?
Drink a lot of alcohol.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, you drank a lot of alcohol last night.
Yeah.
So
And now his body
Now my
is
body.
betraying him.
So you've poisoned yourself all night, and now your
Exactly.
body is trying to get rid of the poison that you put into it. When I'm really hungover, I will sometimes get a bag of fluids,
Get an IV. Let's go.
you've told me this before, and it's insane
Yeah.
shit.
and I feel fine after. Hence,
Yeah.
why I know it is dehydration.
Yeah, it is dehydration. You're right. My good friend is a nurse, and she has offered that to us on days when we are fucking, unusable.
Incredible.
But
Here's
it's
a
very-
fun.
So now-
here's a fun
Okay, yeah.
nurse friend story. So one time when I was hiking, I decided to open a bottle of red wine with a pocket knife. So that didn't go well, and I put the pocket knife into my finger pretty bad. So then,
That's on brand.
and like I'm in the middle of the woods, so I'm like, get it up, and it stopped bleeding, but it looked pretty bad. So I decided, I called my friend and I described my finger to them and asked them if I should go to the hospital or not. It was a good choice. I stand by it, and my finger's still on me. So
I take it you didn't go to the hospital.
I didn't go to the hospital, and I don't think I'd call my nurse friend again. Feels like a bad choice. Feels like I'm overstepping a boundary.
So now that we've redacted 30% of this intro, let's get into it with the first chapter today. Chapter 10. Hedge is wandering through somewhere. He's been arguing with the wind, who just wants to play a game. He finds the skeleton of a dragon, the third he's seen. Farther along the trail, Hedge finds tracks ahead of him. The wind tells them they're tracks of a broken Talana mass. Twilight, Varret Tawn, and the Mocker Senior Assessor ride out from Letherus. They observe the aftermath of the previous night's slaughter. Tawn thinks about Icarium and Terralak Veed. He decides it's best for him to return to the city. The Senior Assessor follows suit. The Atrupreda rides on. Troll, Onrak, and Quickben approach the other side of the mysterious Shadow Lake. Trull notices that the path they walk has been oddly level ground. He thinks perhaps this is a drowned concourse of some sort. Quickben scoffs, but Onrak says he's seen one of this size on the peninsula of Stratum, made by the Kachane Chamal. Trull hates when everyone knows more than him, and Onrak tells him to stop being modest and reveals to Trull that he is the Knight of Shadow. Quickben opens a gate into the Warrens. Quickben searches for weak spots and senses that something has become aware of him. He is pulled through the realms to a primordial tundra. He returns to Trull and Onrak, grinning. The owner of Heredict Tavern, Ballant, is in love. Shirkalal and her crew come into the tavern every night, and he sits with them, listening to their tales. Shirk sees some men who remind her of the Crimson Guard. She's been trying to get an audience with Brilliag's Sheikh, and Ballant tells her the men have been coming and going from Brilliag's every day. Shirk thinks they're the ones who spared the island from the ice storm. She hatches a plan to see Brilliag. Saren, Kettle, and their band of not-so-merry men make their way higher into the Blue Rose Mountains. They notice the Omtos Falak magic holding the glaciers together is dying. Saren thinks Clip has taken her purpose from the group and suggests she should leave. Fear implores her not to. Udanas speaks of words unspoken, Trull's death, and Rulad's lack of honor. Fear attacks Udanas, and Saren tells Udanas if he values his life, he'll stop complimenting Fear. Kettle doesn't want to die. Tak, the man of 1,000 names, rides with Red Mask's army. He thinks on his life, as well as in Aster's, how Red Mask ended up with 2 Kachane Chamal and redemption. He misses Tool. An elder who was around when Red Mask's sister was killed tells Red Mask he should have killed Tak when he had the chance. Red Mask pledges an end to the Lethery. Steandi recalls leaving the city for a small plains settlement. She thinks about her family's death, how she fled, and the home she found among the 4-legged people. Eventually, the people flee, and she is found by a man who reminds her of her family. She follows him into the rising sun. Red Mask leaves Tak and Torrent to guard the train. A battle with the Lethery will be waged 3 leagues from the camp. Torrent argues with Tak. The All says Tak is cursed, and Tak thinks he has a point. Red Mask speaks with his warriors about the tactics they will employ in the coming battle. Natarchus thinks there is no honor in this way of fighting. Red Mask agrees, but says that this is his war, not the Elders, and he intends to win it. So, the chapter begins with our good friend Hedge, who we have not seen since he pushed or tricked Perrin, the Warren, or wherever they were in the last book. Turns out he's been just walking around. He fell through some Warrens, I think, and now is somewhere below Hood's Warren or something. It's extremely confusing. He finds a dragon, and Josh, how you feeling being reunited with your boy Hedge?
It was nice.
Yeah.
Hedge is I really feel like, well, you know what? Actually, I take it back. I feel like one of the things I find myself thinking when I read about Hedge is I find myself thinking, I didn't understand how important he was going to be, but I feel like the book did not prepare me to know him very well. You know, he was just one of the boys in a way, and he never really to me stood out from the pack a lot in back in book 3 and stuff. Sure. And so I do sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what your personality is, Hedge. I just know that you and Fiddler were boys.
Yeah. Josh, I think you're right about it, though. I feel very similar. I feel like he's one of these characters at the beginning of the story that somewhat it's just like, it's Hedge, you know? And then it's like, let's start going. And I'm like, well, wait a second. it's just like another thing caught in the shuffle that I feel less invested in some of those characters than maybe some of the characters that like you start with at square one and kind of go all the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, part of me felt like at the end of the Bone Hunters arc, Hedge was just going to disappear into dust or something.
Yeah.
Or just be like left in the Warren and we weren't going to hear from him again until somebody like came across a skeleton later or something, I didn't think we were going to get another Hedge POV in this book. India, how do you feel about Hedge?
No, no thoughts. I don't really care. I was like, oh, Hedge, hey. Like, not very, I thought he was going to be out of the book after being dead. Yeah. So it's like interesting that.
That's true. He did die.
He's not dead.
But he's going to meet a Talana Imass now.
How do you know?
Something. What do you mean, how do I know? It literally happens in these chapters.
Oh.
He meets her. And they.
Thought it was a person.
Not in this chapter.
How do you know it was a Talana Imass?
They say it straight up. Fully.
And they're heading to Amtos Falak, the Warren that has their shit.
India, what'd you think about the dragon bones in this chapter, in this section?
I don't fucking know. There's always dragon bones everywhere. There's dragon bones all the time. Yeah. There's dragons everywhere. There's just dragons everywhere.
Pete, should we know who these dragons are? No, right?
A mystery.
Okay, sure. All right. So Hedge finds these Talana Imass tracks. We'll get to that later.
Oh.
There we go. The pieces have come together.
Those were the footprints.
Yes.
Those were the deep footprints.
Yes. Of the broken Talana Imass.
Ah!
There you go.
See, no, you're right. Like, I guess that was obvious. I just feel like it wasn't super clear, but it's fine.
All
Maybe
right.
it was. Maybe I skipped that part.
So we head over and we see our good friend Atri Preda Yantovis, Twilight, with Veriton and the Mocker, who I wasn't expecting to see again. I thought the Mocker was just going to disappear into the city, but they're all making their way out of Lethris. Pete, how do you feel? I know that you're a big Twilight head.
Okay, I am.
What do you feel about Veriton and the Mocker?
I mean, I feel fine about them. They're sideshows in the greater Twilight story, and I'm very excited to talk about Twilight later on, because today in chapter 12...
Fucking livid about the Twilight shit.
In chapter 12, we're finally going to start... It's like we're starting to get there. We're shaking it up, baby, now. Let's twist and shout. We're like...
Oh, that's a good bit. That's a good bit.
We're getting there. So I'm very excited to talk Twilight today. However, with Veriton, and they're along for the ride. I do think it's kind of interesting to hear Twilight think about him and how he is conceiving of this, but ultimately that's not what lights my fire.
Yeah. Troll, Unrack, and Quickbin make it to the other side of this weird ass lake.
They're a good group. They're a good group.
They're a good group. A fun ride.
Yeah. So what do we think? We all had feelings about Troll and Unrack, various feelings in House of Chains. How are we feeling about adding Quickbin to the group, Josh?
He's good.
I agree. I think he's funny. I think he adds some comedy to their fucking drama. All they want to do is talk about how sad they are all the time and how they understand why they're sad. It's like, oh, I really regret this. And he's like, yeah, I totally get it. I would regret that too. And I'm like, here for you, bro. And Quickben's like, can you guys shut up? Like, I'm doing some shit right now, and I'm gonna get us where we need to be. You guys can stop reminiscing on your sad lives now.
I'm so much worse than you guys. No, you're so humble.
You don't even get it.
You're always so modest. I'm not so much.
I do.
Literally, it's the fucking worst. Yeah. It's the worst.
Yeah, I do love at the end of this section when Troll and Unrack are like waxing poetic about what does a warrior do when peace is won, and Quickben's just like, they go fishing, fuck off, and then disappears. It's really good. It's really good stuff. Really
so
good stuff.
Good.
Because he's doing some shit. It's like, come on, guys, let him concentrate. He's trying to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Seems really hard. He's trying to separate his soul from his body. Like, give him a minute.
Yeah. And when he does separate his soul, did any of you like have a guess as to where he went? Like, where do you think he ended up with this feminine energy?
Not fucking Talon.
Not Talon,
Didn't expect
right?
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we check back in with Shirk and Pretty and the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
They're hanging out on the island. We get it from the POV of the tavern owner who is in love with Shirk.
Love. So fucking good.
Yeah. Really good. I was really, really cold on this section last week.
You were throwing shade.
Yeah, I really was super uninterested. But now that we've introduced the Shake stuff and these other people who look like the Crimson Guard. Hey, where are the Crimson Guard from? Are they just kind of a ragtag group, or are they like Malazan, or...
They're from Genabacchus? Or they were on Genabacchus?
Pete's thinking hard if they want to answer or not.
No, I'm trying to. So the thing is, it doesn't really seem worthwhile. They're not from here. If that's what your answer, if that's what your question is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it would be kind of interesting if they were Malazan, I guess, is really all I was thinking. But
I guess they're more similar. They're more of that part of the world than this part of the world.
Yeah.
So
just wondering. Shirk thinks that they were the ones that threw off the ice and then makes a plan. And then we don't hear from Shirk again.
Yeah.
Really upset about that, honestly. I really want to know what this plan is. Josh, how would you break in to see Brullig shake? Or shake Brullig? I don't know which order it's in.
I think I would just kind of go. If I'm am I an undead pirate? Probably just kind of go.
I did forget about the undead part. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
That is fair enough.
She's also a thief, so I guess she'll just break in and be all thiefy about it. Ocean's 11.
Oh, yeah. I hope that the rest of this book for Shirk just turns into an Ocean 11 style heist. That'd be really good.
Be great.
That'd be really good.
You son of a bitch.
Is that an Ocean's 11 quote? Or
I was going to say, I like that movie a lot. I don't remember them saying that in a big iconic way.
No, it's a Rick and Morty quote when they did the heist episode.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's a meme.
Sorry.
They do meme that.
So Saren and the rest of them have made their way to the Blue Rose Mountains. Yeah, Pete.
This section ruled. What's up?
Yeah, this section's good.
This section's awesome.
What'd you like so much about it?
It's just like more great conversations between our great friends who all aren't having a good time with each other, but it's like it's obvious it's a great conversation about Fear Sengar and like is he so committed to a stupid idea that he's like wasting his whole fucking life, you know? Like, and is he so committed to some idea that he's going to save the Eater, or is he so committed to this idea that he's like doing right by his dead brother? You know, that like, I'm going to like hang out with this girl he gave a sword to because that's like the thing to do. Yeah. It's like, it's great. And like, obviously Udonis is being a huge fucking prick here. You know, you can't say he's not kind of being an ass. You know?
He compliments him. He says some nice things.
He's being a real nice guy. But I just think it's a great conversation, and it was just a really a well-written conflict that is obviously character revealing, both about Udonis, who obviously does not believe in this type of thing, and, you know, kind of weighing fear, you know?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this part.
Yeah, I think, again, we've had similar conversations to these before where they're all talking about, like, what's my purpose in this group? What are we doing?
Sure.
And I feel like this was, in some ways, another one of those, but in a way that was, like, saying all the quiet stuff out loud. Like, Fear was just like, I'm doing this for my brother because I feel bad about my brother. And Saren's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. There's a new leader. I don't know if I'm supposed, like... I can't lead anymore.
Yeah, I wonder what you guys think. Do you think Saren should be around? Like, how do you feel about her journey in this book so far?
I don't think any of them know where to go. So they're just like, we might as well stay together because I really, even in the book, she's like what you just said, Peter, the new guys, they're leading them. Like, what am I doing here? And it's like, yeah, Saren, what are you doing here? Why don't you go get a job and go live your life? Why are you just walking?
Why don't you do literally anything else, bro?
Sure.
Literally. But also, I'm like super surprised that Fear, like this huge like warrior, soldier, his whole life he's had to fight, doesn't just beat Udonis's ass.
I mean, he tries. He tries in this section.
I know, but he doesn't.
It's true. He restrains himself.
And it's like, just one time. Sometimes I feel like people just need one moment to just get your shit together. Udonis is so mean.
Yeah.
And it's like, he wasn't always this mean. He wasn't always like this. I don't know when he got this like he was this whole book and like after he became not an indebted or whatever it's called. Yeah. But I don't know, like he just needs a little.
What, he needs like a punching to the face is what you're saying?
I'm just one time.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree in the
I'm just, or maybe just Kettle to be like, stop.
Yeah, well,
and
I think
he'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe we have to kill you.
Yeah, everybody in this group, while they're all kind of together and not really sure what their purpose is, I think they all do serve a purpose within this group, right? Like, I think part of the reason that Fear doesn't just beat the shit out of Udonis is because on some level he feels like Udonis is like right.
Definitely.
I just don't feel like it goes with the characterization here, is all I'm saying.
For the characterization of fear?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't
I
get
don't know
it.
about that,
What
but-
kind of soldier warrior that's like in a place where you like kill everyone? Like the Eater are not like, I don't know. It's like,
Well,
I
but
don't know.
we've only seen the Eater under this like tyrannical rule of either the
No.
Warlock King or the crazy Emperor
Oh, yeah.
God with the magic sword. We haven't actually seen how the Eater are normally because like they were in their tribes, I guess, kind of subjugated by the Lethari people up until they were like, here's this big magic sword, go do war.
I know. But
right?
you also like don't count as an adult until you kill someone.
That
So
is
it's like,
also fair. Yeah, but yeah, okay, yeah, I guess that's true. I guess that's a fair rebuttal.
it's
but-
not like an issue, and I don't have a problem with it. It's just something that I'm just like, how has he not yet? How has there not been some kind of large,
Yeah.
But whatever. Maybe he's different.
Maybe he's just not like other girls.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like Udinas's, I don't have any quotes or anything, but I did like Udinas's whole monologue about the words unspoken.
Oh yeah,
And I
that
like
was
how
great.
it was immediately diffused by fear. It was like, thank goodness you didn't say the unspoken words. Really good.
I highlighted that too. I liked it a lot.
Josh, you have any thoughts about this?
No, this scene didn't really stick out to me as much.
Really?
I think the later scene with them really did a lot for me, but this one not so much.
All right. So we head over to the all camp. Talk is doing some thinking. Red Mask is getting a scolding by an elder about how he should have killed Talk. Yeah.
Fuck this elder.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Fuck
what do we
that
think
guy.
about this elder? Yeah.
Oh,
He's a shithead.
He's a shithead.
I don't think he's a shithead. I just feel like he doesn't it wasn't that like deep, I feel. I just feel like he's like, yeah, you should have killed him. You gotta kill him, and then we'll be free. He's just giving his opinion. He's not like
He like fully is like, I'm gonna blackmail you if you don't kill this fool.
no, but not in a bad way. He's like, if you just
Indy, I would love you to explain how
good
you can blackmail in a good way.
No, guys. He's like, if you are good and you just do good things, then you don't have to be afraid. But if you do bad things, then I'm going to plunge the dagger that I am hanging above your chest into your chest.
You know, I don't think you're completely wrong, India. I do think this guy has the best intentions for the all, but I also think he is like a big representation of like the quote unquote like old ways.
Yes.
Of like only trust the all, don't trust anyone else, do things how they've always been done because that is the way we do it. And I feel like that's happened a couple of times throughout this book. Like it happens with the Eater. Like that's what all of Midnight Tides is about, is like, you know, these societies being absorbed by modern, quote unquote, modern civilization. It happens with Karsa, you know, this barbarian or whatever from the mountains being introduced to civilization and you know, not really being forced to reckon with it, more being forced to wreck it. But I think this is just another example of that idea. Pete, what do you think? What do you think about this elder? What do you think about these all ways?
These all ways. So are you saying they're unmodern, AJ? That they're uncivilized?
No, that's why I said quote unquote modern. Okay.
Just razzing your berries.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think you do touch on a theme there, and I think obviously, I don't want to really speak on this subject, so that's all. I'll just razz your berries and then step out of frame. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hey, I'm imagining Animaniacs style of you just like pulling yourself out of the frame where like your feet go first and your head follows shortly after.
Yeah.
And then we get, one of the worst scenes that I've read in this whole book. It's like a really good, really well written part, but it really made me so fucking upset. We see the sister of the farm boy Arabat who we had met earlier in this book.
Who gets murked in like chapter 5 or something.
Yeah, he gets fully murdered and his whole family runs away. Or his whole family's murdered until we see his sister who ran away. And I don't know. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know how long it has been. We also, I guess, don't know how old his sister is, but she really quickly is like, I'm a dog now.
She became a wolf person real fucking quick.
It is one of those things where time is a little nebulous because I'm like, was it quick or was it a long time? I don't know, you know?
Well, isn't she still a child?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. She's like pretty young. I don't actually know because I don't think they say.
They kind of do.
She's a handmaiden in training, which means I guess she's not old enough to be a handmaiden, which I guess would be like teen age, right? So she's in like the single digits maybe. Yeah.
I think it's funny that she thinks that she's a wolf person. Like, at what point did she go on her four legs and be like, okay, I can't walk, I'm two anymore?
I'm calling it a day.
I mean, it sounds like she was walking for a while on those little legs. So I think seeing somebody on all four legs is like, this is a better way to do it. My legs hurt. Let's use the other two. And then she's found by a hunter. I don't know. This scene was very sad. Did anybody else get anything else out of this? Resounding silence. Great.
Why did you feel sad?
I mean, because this poor child's whole family was just murdered and she was forced to fend for herself. It's just very sad to see a person, let alone a child, be forced to, like, not to speak ill of dogs, I guess, but to, like, degrade themselves in such a way of, like, now I am a wolf person, I guess. Like, that's how far from humanity she has been taken.
Yeah, and then, yeah.
And I don't remember if this was the wind conversation here, or if this was a different conversation, but they talk about in the beginning, but they talk about the children are the most afflicted of the fallen or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that was rough.
And I think this is like a really, like, a prime example of that idea.
Yeah.
So it's just sad. And also I have nieces and nephews, and I don't want them to think that they're dogs, you know?
I think there's this question here that it's like, you know, you have these children out here of these colonizers, you know? And it's like, you know, if this battle happens, what happens to these children, you know? And like, you know, it's like, what's the right thing that happens to them? So I think that's an interesting point here.
Like the sins of the father, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean to say.
Sure. So we end the chapter with some more Red Mask stuff. Red Mask leaves talk with another warrior, Torrent, to guard the camp. And then they argue. This dude says some shitty things to Talk and is like, hey, you're cursed. And Talk says, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, fair.
And then Red Mask talks to his warriors about the tactics that they are going to employ in this coming battle. Josh, what do you think about, we see it more in the next chapter, but what do you think about the all, like, becoming these kind of, like, proto bridge burners with these schemes and stuff?
You know, again, the timeline's a little tough because, like, I'm like, realistically, that's like months and months of training they need to do to be efficient in that style. So I was assuming that it was going to go terribly and not really work for them, and we'll see about that later.
Yeah.
I do understand. I was like, it's going to be effective. Like, they're going to fucking crush the Letheri if it works. But I was like, it's a long time to break your entire lifestyle of fighting and change it to, like, a very organized one.
Well, it seems like from how I understood the all, it wasn't that they didn't have that their fighting style was bad. It was just that their tactics were pretty bad.
Exactly, yeah. But those like, you know, when you're in the heat of battle, it like, you know, it is rigorous and, like, repetitive training that, like, you know, keeps you from breaking your lines and stuff. And that's why I was like, they don't have time for all that, but they do apparently.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you're right. But I think the tactics that they employ, and like I said, we'll talk about it more later, are more like, we'll get the jump on them so that they aren't prepared enough so that our fighting style will match with these, like, sneaky tactics. And then we can still win even if we aren't the most organized. But we can talk about that more later.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of chapter 10. Does anybody else have anything they wanted to say before we thank our patrons?
No, let's thank them.
Pete, you want to thank our lovely people? You've never really got to name the patrons.
I would love to thank them. A big warm thank you to Victor, Musash, Carly, Malcolm, The Knowers, and Nicholas. Thank you so much for donating to help support the show. It makes it a lot more sustainable, and it means a lot to us.
Yeah. And thank you, The Knowers, 6 times, I guess, because they are in the Discord, and it's a shared account with 6 people. So thank you.
A powerful energy.
Thank you so much. Let's move on to the next chapter. Chapter 11. Hunch Arbat, the half-blooded Tarthanol who had been spreading excrement over the Tarthanol gods, has a vision of a cracked dream mask ready to burst, and decides it's time for him to leave. So, naturally, he sets his house on fire. On his way out, he runs into some good Samaritans who tell him some eater in the inn told them to go put the fire out. Farther down the road, he's asked by some Lethari soldiers where they could sleep for the night. He points them in the direction of an old barn, downwind from the hottest place in town. His house. Tahol, Janath, Bug, and Ublala Pung are getting ready to eat some chicken soup. Janath notices a block in her mind. Bug tells her that's of her own design, but that it will come down when she is ready. Ublala tells Tahol they have to find the Toblakai champion. Chief Inspector Ruckett meets with Ormley. Ormley is worried Tahol and Bug are moving too fast with their schemes. Ruckett thinks Bug might be the one really pulling the strings. The Errant thinks more about Mael and how he organized with Kurakan and a Jaghut to capture the Eater Sea Spirit. He thinks on Mael's worshippers, notices a crack in the ice, and considers war among the gods. The Errant thinks about his own power and realizes that he needs a mortal's blood. He teleports to the Sea Dance to meet with Featherwitch. Kurakan's ghost appears and warns the Errant not to do anything rash. The Errant speaks about not believing in the power of the Warrens. Kurakan tells the Errant that the Warrens have a master just as the Holds did, and that he's been infected by the demon in the ice. The Errant attacks Featherwitch, cutting her. Featherwitch retaliates by stabbing out the Errant's eye with the finger of Breeze Benedict. The Errant escapes with all the blood he needs. Featherwitch is dying. The Sita goes to try and find a healer. The Errant returns to his temple and drops the blood-covered knife onto his tiles. It impales his tile directly into his chest. His power surges back, and he goes to make sure Featherwitch is dead. Featherwitch lays dying. She doesn't think the Sita will return in time to save her. She curses the hungry god, and then eats his eyeball. The Errant feels his power ripped from him and hears Featherwitch's voice in his head. The voice of his high priestess, his Distrai Anant. She demands he make Breeze his mortal sword and Udanas his shield anvil. The Errant says Breeze is trapped by Mael. Featherwitch says the tiles now flow with the blood of the Warrens and that they should go exploring. He tells her of the crippled god's involvement with the Eater, which silences her. The Errant realizes he's made a mistake and thinks he has to make plans. Samar Dev watches as Karsa defeats champion after champion in spars. She feels a shivering and retreats to her quarters, where she sets up wards. Kurakan makes himself known to her and implores her to come help Featherwitch. She ignores him, saying Featherwitch gives witches a bad name, and then captures him within her knife. Got another one. Karsa walks right into Samar's room, and they have a heated conversation about ghosts. Karsa will spar next with a Segula woman. A crowd gathers to watch Karsa fight, including Icarium and Terralak Veed and Tomad Sengar. Icarium recalls his fight with Karsa. Karsa defeats the woman, and Tomad decides Karsa will be the last champion to fight Rulad. Before Karsa can see him, Icarium leaves. Karsa says after he kills Rulad, he will finish his duel with Icarium. Hanan Mozag travels through a dreamt-up version of Corald Emerlin. He beckons Mother Dark and Father Light to save their children and show him the way to the throne of Shadow. An owl passes overhead, an omen of things to come. He shouts an offer to the Andi and Leozin, saying the betrayals are done. He then accepts the omen. Breeze Benedict will be the mortal sword of Corald Emerlin. Hanan Mozag comes out of his trance and tells Bruth and Trana to leave Rulad and travel west, to find the one whose tomb was never occupied, and retrieve the finger from Featherwitch. Tahol and Ublala are skulking. They alert the guards and run separate ways. Ruth and Trana thinks about Karsa Orlong. As he approaches Featherwitch, he senses that her power has grown. Featherwitch sees the Eater approach her. Brutally, the man takes the pouch from her, cutting her ear and neck. Tahul arrives back home, having successfully served as a diversion. Bug tells Tahul that Ublala intends to find out if the Toblakai champion is his new god. Tahul thinks Karsa is doomed to die at Rulad's hand. Bug shrugs. Samardev awakes to Ublala Pung at her door. He insists that she take him to Karsa. Upon meeting the Toblakai, Pung kneels and calls Karsa Pure One. Samar explains that the Tarthanol are mixed-blood Toblakai, and Ublala says that the rest of them live on islands in the Draconian Sea. Karsa declares that he will lead an army of Toblakai and tells Ublala to bring his kin back to Letheris. Ublala agrees and tells Karsa that he has a secret to share about Rulad. Karsa orders Samardev out of the room, and she leaves.
All right, so Josh was just so moved by the events of Chapter 11, he had to step away for the rest of the episode. So
he was very hungover and retired from the show.
Yeah, Josh, you're not going to hear this because you do not listen to the podcast, but I hope you feel better, buddy.
Yeah, he came back on mic after we took a break and was like, I cannot remain on the show. I must. So
obviously we'll miss him very much and miss his takes. But
do you know what? This is good news because you missed one of the read-through episodes. Now, Josh missed one. Now, only India and I have been on every read-through episode. So
yeah, you guys have perfect attendance.
That's exactly right.
Does that mean I get to miss the next one?
No,
it's only a big deal when I can't be here. No, everyone else, it's like, yeah, go.
India, you bring such a good energy.
Of course,
no,
India,
I don't.
You're the star of the show.
That's not true.
All right, so let's get into this chapter.
So we start this chapter with a little bit of a reunion.
So crazy.
This incidental character from Saren Padak's story in Midnight Tides, the dude who was wiping shit and piss all over the Toblakai god statues.
Yeah.
He's back. Hunch Arbat.
Everyone's favorite character.
Everyone's favorite character. Hunch Arbat. Woo, go Hunch.
Someone tell me how Steve even remembers these characters.
That's why he didn't give him a name in Midnight Tides. He was just the one that wiped shit on stuff.
Well, here's what annoys me about the Hunch Arbats of the world. Because I don't know, a third of the time, the Hunch Arbats come back. And it's look, this is why we did the cutaway to the Tavern Keep. Because the Tavern Keep is actually going to be followed up in Book 9. And then, right. Actually, 60% of the time, it actually never gets followed up on. And it's just oh, yeah, well, that was one thing. We're moving on, But it's always fun when they come back like this and you get to do a little loop around.
Yeah, and it's always funny how Steve loops these characters in with all the other stories, because as he's leaving, he runs into the villagers who tell him that the Eater are in the village inn and they want him to... he burned his house down, by the way. They want to put the house out. And then as he's walking down the road, he runs into Twilight and her gang. And they're like, hey, where can we stay? And he's like, oh, there's an old barn that you can stay at. See ya. And it's just he has run into now Saren Padak and the Crimson Guard and Twilight, the Shake Queen. Oops, spoilers. Some of the major players in these books. So it's just very funny. And if I had to guess, well, India, where do you think he's walking? He said he's walking, and his destination, he's not afraid for the journey, he's afraid for the destination. That classic saying. He's
going to where Akarium and what's the other guy? Karsa are.
You forgot the name of your favorite character, Karsa.
I know, I did.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. 100%. That's where he's going. He's got the Tablor blood or the Toblakai blood, whatever it is.
He's going home, baby.
Yeah, he's going home. I'm so excited to talk about that more later. That stuff, because it is fucking bonkers. And for the first time in these chapters, we see our good pals Tahul, Bug, Janath, Ublala Pung. They're all getting ready to eat some chicken soup. Ublala steps on a chicken.
Pretty good stuff. Pretty good. Just classic Ubala hijinks.
Yeah. And basically, the only thing really that comes out of this section is that Janath's doing better, and Ublala has to go see Karsa. So that's fun. Then we head over to Inspector Ruckett. and Ormley, the rat catchers.
Ormley
Talking about how-
Orly confirmed rotten in bed, confirmed in this book.
I know that we all had a big poll going of whether Ormley fucked or not. He does not.
Seems like he does fuck, maybe, but at least is terrible at it if he does. Who knows?
India, sorry, Josh isn't here, so I can't ask him, and Pete knows what happens, so I can't ask them either. What do you think? Rucket is kind of on to Bug being the one pulling the strings in a way.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to pan out for her? Do you think it's going to be what she thinks? Do you think that Rucket knows that Bug is the elder god of the seas?
I don't know if she knows the extent of his maybe of his power, but I think that she does definitely. She is going to suspect something. I have a feeling though he might blame it on Tehol or so. Like I feel like I don't think that I'm not sure that she'll ever even I don't think anything is going to come of it. I don't. I think Bug's like a master at being like, what are you talking about, me? So
yeah, I think it'll be
thought.
Yeah, I agree that he's gonna somehow,
or maybe he'll
deflect
clap
it.
and make her disappear. I don't know.
Oh my god. Do you think he's gonna send her to the depths of the ocean to get crushed?
No, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is, and Pete, maybe you want to cover your face for this part preemptively. I feel like this Rucket being like, I think Bug is more than he says, is like kind of, I guess, meta in a way. Not meta, but just like speaking to the larger parts of the story, because there is so much sea imagery throughout these chapters that is like, and they talk about how Male has these cultists now following him. Bug's power is only growing, and
Literally.
It's like all of the warrens that are being flooded, like that's water, that's the sea. I don't know. So I really think that at some point it's going to be like, oh, Bug is the actual real big bad guy, or something, because all this water talk about the seas, baby.
No, not Bug.
And it's not only even in this book. I mean, the ocean and the sea has so much imagery in this, and I think it represents several things. But to me, I always draw on like kind of the wash of time and tides coming and going of these different historical and things,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But
all things change, but the tide stays. I don't know what that is. That was nothing.
Yeah, is that a thing?
No, I liked it.
I've
Pulled it
never heard
directly out
that
of my
phrase in
ass.
my life.
I mean, Pete, did you want to comment any more on Bug's power or Rucket's suspicion?
So next, Errant and Featherwitch.
Yes, so next, yeah. So
they kind of have a slumber party.
What?
They play a good old fashioned game and have a little bit of an argument.
A good old fashioned game of your blood, my blood. Yeah. So this section blew my head off.
Okay. Tell me why.
Truly wild. It just starts off so harmless, I guess. And it's just like the errant thinking like, I wonder what Male's up to. And then seeing
these holds and tiles, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's just like regular errant stuff of like wondering
Sure.
about their power and stuff and all this whatnot. And then they see the ice cracking where the demon is trapped.
Yeah.
And then is overcome by ambition, I guess. And it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to kill Featherwitch. And then
he
does
feels this
that.
ambition. He's like what you're talking about. He's thinking about Male, and he's like, I gotta fucking level up, bro. It's time.
Yeah. And so he goes to see Featherwitch. Kurkon is like, you don't want to do this. This is a bad idea. And he's like, no. And so he stabs Featherwitch, takes her blood on his thing. She pokes his eye out.
She pulled his eye out with her hand.
With Breeze's finger. No, she stabbed his eye out.
She dislodges she kind of loosens it up first. She tenderizes, and then she gets in there with the hand to pull it out.
Oh, I misunderstood.
Yeah, she poked him in the eye and then clawed
and
it
then
out.
took it. Jesus Christ.
It's violent.
And then makes a little snack out of it.
So my question is, was this not, they weren't trying to kill each other here? Because he stabbed her like a lot.
Yeah,
and then she started to die a little.
The errant just needed her blood for the ritual he wanted to do, which is like he needed mortal blood.
But
so he didn't
why
actually.
Why didn't they just why did it have to be like a fight?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a way that it could not have been a fight. I think you're right.
That was so weird.
I read on the tour reread says that the errant was overcome with this murderous rage because they got too close to the demon under the ice and it like possessed him sort of. And
her?
like, no, just the errant.
Oh, so she was just defending herself.
Right. Which, like, I guess so. I don't know. I don't know if that was made explicitly clear. I mean, Kurakan is like, hey, you've been overcome by ambition from the demon, which I guess is true. I guess that's canon. So yeah, that was why this sudden lust for power from the errant. And I don't think he didn't need to kill her. He just needed her blood. But then so in the next part, he takes the knife, drops it onto the tiles. It stabs his tile directly in the chest. And then begins to fill the tiles with blood. And then he feels power and is like, ooh, I should make sure she's dead. Because if she's not, she could do what she's about to do, which is eat his eye, absorb his power, and become his high priestess, pretty much. And it seems like this whole time the errant has made a concerted effort to not have any worshippers. Mm-hmm. Because if you have worshippers, and not worshippers, sorry, not to have like a higher echelon of like priests and priestesses and stuff like that. Because from what I understand, regular people praying to you or whatever is easy to ignore. But when it's a high priestess or somebody, you know, in a higher position of power, it's like almost impossible to ignore or not pay attention to.
Well, there's more. I think there's more of a direct relationship and more of a back and forth.
She fully eats his eye. And
well, I meant in general, but definitely here, this is like a much more like, I mean, they talk about it. She's like, we're like bound together now. You answer to me and I answer to you. How, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah. I thought this was such an interesting, like going back and writing the summary, like looking over it again. She's just like, we both hate each other. You put us in this situation. So I'm going to fucking like destroy your life. Like, I don't want to do this, but like, you've kind of left me no choice, which I thought was kind of funny.
I also think it's reflecting this question of like, well, how much should your theology or your beliefs or your ideals, whatever it may be like a fixed thing, or how much should they answer to you and what you want and your mortal desires? Do you mean, or should they be this unchanging, immortal, whatever, you know?
Yeah. If I had to point out like a theme in this book, it's like, what is it? This book is very much about what it means to worship something, I feel like, because the crippled god had that whole section a couple episodes ago about like, my worshippers made me this. I never asked for that. You know, I never intended for this to happen like this. Like, this conversation has now happened a couple of times. And I think this is like, again, similar to the last Saren scene, like this is that conversation kind of brought to a head in a way. So
well, I think it's a common theme of the gods throughout books, but I think especially in this book, which I do think reflects not only about worship, but about power and who actually has power in these relationships and who has power over who, you know?
Right.
It's like, who has the power, the gods and the ideals, or the worshipers and the believers of those ideals? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are we creating them, or are we living by it? I mean, so.
Yeah.
I feel like but I think that's also like a theme throughout it, but I do agree it's really shining through in some of these conversations with these gods.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think this is a bit of a side thought.
Please, Josh isn't here. You know, Josh is the one who hates tangents.
But the conversation with the crippled god, I think, was really my like opened my head to the universe, like my galaxy brain meme.
Oh, sure.
Of starting with like, all the crippled god's believers or worshippers are crazy. The crippled god is making them crazy is the next level of that thing. And then the galaxy brain part is like, oh no, actually the worshippers are the ones that are making the crippled god this monster. So he's not actually influencing them in any way. They're actually destroying him. So I don't know. I think that is stuck in my craw from earlier. Like as soon as that came up, I'm like, ooh, man, okay, that's a thought. And now every time the gods come up or worshippers or whatever, that's like all I'm thinking about is like, the crippled god didn't make his followers. The followers are making the crippled god. And so in every relationship, you know, that's what's happening. And that's part of what has me so worried about Bug is they're talking about these cultists and stuff who are like praying to Bug in this way. And I'm like, oh shit, Bug is going to just like lose it at some point when all these fucking cultists or whatever are like, hey, drown the world. And he'll be like, okay, fine. So it got me worried, you know?
Let the record show I want to speak more about the crippled god, but I shall not.
Okay.
I have to say, I feel much less in control of sharing my opinions on this side of the thing, because literally every time you ask me thoughts about something, I'm like, I should just share my whole thoughts, But that's that's not what I should do,
Yeah, usually you preface your questions with the thoughts that you're comfortable giving, and then you ask the question to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, a truly wild scene, and then we move on to.
Yeah, well, we move on to some of the Karsa stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
so Samar gets beckoned by Kurakan, is like, "Hey, help!" And she says no, and traps him in the sword, in the dagger. Sure, but also Karsa is just like sparring with every single one of the champions that are supposed to fight Rulad, which is so funny, and he's just absolutely kicking ass.
Literally.
Yeah, I don't think we know who it is. It's just like in the as soon as we come back to Samar, it's like, oh, he just beat the shit out of this fool, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna go fight a Segula, see ya, and it's good. He beats the Segula. But I think the part here, Ikariam and Karsa are in the same room, I think, for the first time
Since their duel.
since they fought each other, right, for the first time on Lethris. And I gotta tell you, got me worried. India, did you think they were gonna talk to each other at all?
Yeah, I thought that they were going to fight, but then I was like, well, they can't fight now because if they do, it'll be, this is what we're all waiting for, so it can't happen
Well,
yet.
we're 500 pages into the book. We can't
Yeah, I was
fight.
gonna say we're
Yeah, of course not. Of course. No, we still have another 7,000 to go. So,
Sure.
or what?
We're
feels
almost
like
halfway.
7,000.
We're almost halfway.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree. I was like, oh, fuck. And then shortly after, I was like, oh, well, they can't actually. But that's the kind of stuff that Steve would pull, I think.
But
Like, that's the
also-
kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
like they lock eyes
exactly.
and begin fighting, and then we don't see them for another 4 chapters. And then we come back and like Lethris is like completely leveled or something. Like,
You also get the name Mapotrel. Haven't seen that bad boy in a while.
yeah, I miss Mappo. I hope he's
I
doing
miss
good
Mappo
with
too.
Scarl Pust and Lady Envy's sister, whatever her name was. I don't remember.
Spite.
Duh. Yes.
It's a good name.
And then this scene ends with Tomad Sengar being like, yeah, he's going to go last. This dude's going to go last. And I guess that is in some way like, oh, well, everybody will fight Rulad. He'll be weak. And then we'll send Karsa in. But like, no? Like, has he been paying attention at all? Like, every time Rulad comes back, it's like a clean slate. It's not like he's like worse for wear. If anything, he is more horrifying.
Right.
Like, so I don't know.
If you strike me down, I'll only become stronger. I don't know. I butchered the quote. You know what I mean? Star Wars.
Yeah.
I've seen the
Yeah,
movie.
well, it's like, yeah, it's a Hydra situation, right? But it's not more heads. It's just more crazy.
Sure. More having a worse time.
Right. Yeah. So I am really, really baffled by that logic. If that is the logic in it, or if he's just like afraid to see his son die. So he's like, oh, well, he's going to go up last. So that if he does kill him, at least I have some more time with my son. But like, I don't know, man. I just don't know. India, what do you think?
I don't know either. I don't understand Tomad. I don't understand. Like, he's just such a strange guy because, like, what is he saving here? And does he even? It's like you have these people trying to fight Rulad. You know, the end goal here is what? And so to be like, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's weird and stupid. I'd be kind of pissed if my dad did that.
I feel like I want to know more about Tomad. Do you know what I mean? What's going on?
Yeah.
That too is that we don't know anything really.
Yeah. All we've really seen him do is like make some kind of bad decisions for his sons, and then I don't know, just
I'll
like
say.
go out on a boat and come back. Yeah, it's upsetting, I think. Before we move on, Pete, Carson and Samar had this heated conversation about ghosts and stuff, and you usually have things to say about the two of them. So I was just curious if you had any thoughts about that big conversation.
You're not going to bait me into talking about ghosts on the podcast. Nice try, AJ. Nice try, you son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. That's right.
Pete is a staunch not ghost believer.
But you can't get me to express my ghost opinions on air. All right.
Just one.
No, not even once.
All right.
So next,
Moving
Hanan
on.
Mosag, the king of the warlocks.
Yeah, Hanan Mosag is not actually walking through Corral Demerlane. He's like in his mind's
Who
eye.
knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. He shouts a whole lot to his mommy and daddy, and then he sees an owl, which is an omen. And then he accepts the omen and is like, yeah, Breeze will be the mortal sword of Corral Demerlin. And that's that whole section. Which reminds me, I completely glossed over this in the fervor that was the Featherwitch errant section.
Yeah.
When Featherwitch becomes the high priestess, she begins just shouting orders at the errant. It's like, hey, Breeze Bedek is going to be our mortal sword. Udanos, as much as I hate him, is going to be the shield anvil. And I think it's because I hate him.
And there's some name, too, that I don't have in front of me.
For what?
Oh, for the mortal sword that Udanos is going to be?
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Torrid Segel.
To Orid Segel. So that happened then. And now Hannah Mozag is like, oh yeah, Breeze Bedek will be Shadow's mortal sword. So I guess we have another fight over who gets Breeze Bedek the best boy. Yeah, India, what did you make of this? What did you make of Hannah Mozag beckoning to Mother Dark and Father Light?
I have no fucking idea what Hannah Mozag is doing anymore. In all honesty, I don't know.
Yeah, dude seems like he's floundering, kind of.
Literally, he just doesn't know. He's just like looking for anything, trying to make deals with all these people, trying to like, he just needs to calm himself down. Yeah, but I don't understand his point right now either. Like, I don't understand what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I feel like if Josh were here, he would say that Hannah Mozag thinks he's the smartest person in the room. But I think I would disagree and say Hannah Mozag is just trying to do anything that might help him in any way. I think he is so afraid and that he feels like he has lost all control, and so he's just like at all costs is like, I'm gonna do everything. I don't know.
How's that working out for him?
Not good. I mean, I guess not bad, because he sends Bruth and Trana to go get the finger from Featherwitch, and then he just like goes and takes it. I mean, he like assaults her pretty bad, but he just like takes it and leaves. So nice job, I guess. Yeah, and then we in lighter news, Ublalapung and Tehal are trying to skulk.
Oh yeah.
They have a whole conversation once again about a single word. They go back and forth for a while about skulking, and then they are seen run away. We'll come back to that in a second. Oh no, I guess that's it. Yeah.
I thought we were leaping to the end with them, because then Ubala hangs out to hang out with Karsa.
Yeah, so they get split up, and then Tehal goes back to the house and is like, yeah, I lost him. I think he got inside. I don't really know. And then Bug is like, oh, that's cool. He thinks he's going to find his new god. And then Tehal thinks Karsa's doomed to die, and Bug shrugs.
What do you think?
What do I think about what?
Him being doomed to die.
I don't think so. I mean, there's some meta knowledge I have that would imply otherwise, I think, but I'm just going to not.
No comment.
No comment. So Ublalapung makes Samardev take him to Karsa, and then just begins to worship Karsa. And then Karsa's like, fuck off. But also, sweet, go get all your buddies from the island. Because apparently, there's just a whole island, or islands, I don't know, full of half-blooded fucking Toblakai.
Well, yeah, yeah. I don't know if there were some islands in the last book, in book 5 we talked about,
No.
Well, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. It could have been a thing that came up.
No, these are different islands. Do you know what? I was conflating them with the islands that Tehal sends some of the tribes to kind of be refugees on. But do you know what? They are different things, because that's what I thought. They're actually kind of different peoples. So, my bad.
You know who else is? The Segula are also on an island.
That's true.
So,
wow.
That's also a thing. And actually, I don't think we learned that from the book. I think Mark told us that. Shout outs to Mark for telling us about the Segula Island.
I don't know when you learn that. Part of me thinks you learned that. I think you learned that on one of the Esselmont books, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Interesting. Anyway. India, Karsa's amassing an army. What the fuck?
Yeah, since when?
I mean, since now, I think.
I like it, though. He loves Ublala, you could tell.
Yeah.
He likes him so much.
He immediately punches him in the head.
I will say, I do feel like it's a classic Karsa move. Like, he shows up, he's like, I'm here to swear to you, and I have an army, and let's do that. And Karsa's like, of course, naturally. As I was expecting.
All according to plan. Yeah, I mean, kind of. He does the same thing with the horse and stuff, too. He's like, yeah, this is my horse. And then the same thing with the sword. He's like, yeah, this is my sword. I made this sword. This is mine.
Yeah.
It's very good. And that leads us to the end of the chapter. What are we thinking?
We're moving on. And so you're saying, AJ, you think these are some of the best chapters we've read in the book?
Crazy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed these chapters, and maybe it's just colored by the Feather Witch section in this chapter, but I think there's a lot of really good stuff here.
I will say, Feather Witch is pretty tolerable in these sections. I think she kind of...
That's a lie. No, she's not. She's fucking horrifying.
Are you kidding
as
me?
always. I love Feather Witch. I do love Feather Witch, but she's horrifying. She's so annoying. She's funny, but like, oh my gosh, she's just so angry.
She's extremely angry. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just leave, girl.
She needs the power, India. She's got a lust for power. And I mean, now she has it, I guess.
Yeah, wait. And also, can we just like retouch on that? Like, is
Yes.
she alive?
Yes. So basically what had happened is she was dying. The Kurakan was going to go get someone to heal her, so he went to Samar Dev. But he was taking too long. So Featherwitch said, I'm just going to eat the eye. So she
Right.
eats the eye, which then makes her and the errant not one being completely, but it makes them like, close. So she took some of his power and she is alive now.
But I thought she was talking in his head.
Yes. So when she ate the eye, that made her his high priestess. There's another word that they use that I wrote down but can't find. Makes her his high priestess. So pretty much she is able to like ask the errant to do things in her name pretty much. So she is like has a direct. It's like he has a Bluetooth that is always dialed to Featherwitch and he can't hang up.
Got it.
And that's part of the whole thing is like when she's talking, he's like, the more I'm talking to you, like the more you're draining my power, please stop. And then she like cuts it off. But yeah, but I don't know, Pete, I really enjoyed these chapters. I think the first one, there's just such interesting stuff going on. I think part of it is like, I thought the Troll Onrak Quick Ben, like going the Shadow Lake thing was going to take the whole book. Like I thought that was going to be their arc, was them traveling the Shadow Lake. And so when Quick Ben was like, "Oh, I found the door," and they're just like, "Okay, let's go." Like I think that is so much farther than I thought their storyline was going to go, even in this book, let alone the first half of the book. What? And all the shit with fucking Twilight in the next chapter, and with Onrak at the end of the section. Like there's just so much that happens in these chapters that's like, hey, what the fuck? Like
listen, I liked him too. I'm not here to take him down a peg. Part of me feels like this is classic mid Malazan book building of the stakes and plot stuff, so
I don't know, but mid book in the last book was fucking Yigatan, So,
I mean, that is true. So you got me there.
I think the midpoints of these books, maybe if I'm spotting a trend, might be the best parts of these books. I don't know.
Maybe. I can't wait to read Toll the Hounds, baby. We're gonna have a great start to 2022.
Yeah, baby. And speaking of great starts, here's the next chapter.
Very good.
Nice segue.
Chapter 12. Brol Handar and Atri Preda Bivat spot what they think is a war camp of the All on the horizon. They're expecting a battle tomorrow at Bast Fulmer, a site chosen by the All because Bivat thinks she knows what to expect. Handar notices a lack of outriders and scouts, but Bivat insists she knows what's coming. There's no need to worry. Tak is working on his arrows in the All train, disguised to look like a war camp. Red Mask and his warriors are hidden farther out in the plain, without any light. The elder who told Red Mask to kill Tak shows up, and they talk of secrets, betrayal, and courage. Tak thinks Torrent would have a hard time catching him if he were to run. Hedge catches up with the Talani Mass that he's been on the trail of, Emroth of the Kron. Hedge talks at length about being a ghost, and Emroth tells him to shut up. Farther north, the pair spot Omtos Falak. Emroth says home is on the other side. Udanas is dreaming. He looks over a wrecked temple, surrounded by hundreds of multi-jointed corpses. The errant appears, covered in blood. He claims Udanas as his Teorid Sagol, his shield anvil. He wants to save these Forkril Sail. Menandere descends from the sky as a dragon and tells the errant Udanas belongs to her. They make a deal. Udanas for a nudge. The Lothari banishes the gods and wakes into another dream. Kettle tells him the temple collapsed because it could not hold all of the grief. Kettle tells Udanas not to cry too soon. Saren Padak is cold, and Udanas has been sick for days. Silchus Ruin thinks Udanas is partly afflicted with K'chain Shamal sorcery. Saren digs, trying to find water, and comes across an unfamiliar spear. Clip recognizes it as Talon Imas weaponry. Ruin says they are merely borrowing it, and will be expected to give it back when the time comes. In the meantime, Udanas uses it as a crutch. Quick Ben thinks about how having friends has only brought him pain. Quick Ben is worried about how their destination will affect Onrak, but they're about to be eaten by a giant catfish, so Quick Ben opens the gate anyway. On the other side, they find themselves in the realm that Quick Ben found before. He thinks the realm is Talon. Onrak is alive. Red Mask tells an ancient tale of the land descending from the sky to the earth. He speaks of the shamans of the Antlers who cursed the earth and Bast Fulmer, the Valley of Drums, a part of the land where sorcery is nullified because of the shaman's curse. Twilight's group reaches Boral Keep near the coast. She's looking for the Master of Arms, but he and his men are off following rumors of demons. Twilight meets Pulley and Squish, two Shake witches who recognize Twilight as a Shake princess, now queen since her mother's death a year ago. They say she is betrothed to Shake Brullieg on Second Maiden Fort. Things are going bad for Atri Preda Bivat. She sees the All have already set up a force in Bast Fulmer, the Houndmaster is mourning the loss of all his dogs to poison, and Brol Handar says the Chariznan magic is nullified in the valley. She does not stand down or retreat, though, because she knows what to expect and is convinced the Letheri are more capable than the All. This is proven immediately false, and Bivat issues a retreat and is told the mages are dealing with demons. Brol Handar sends more troops to the supply camp and is quickly struck down by Sag Chirac and Gunthmok. Bivat watches the K'chain Shamal tear through the supply camp until they're finally driven off by the mages. The Letheri retreat. Twilight rides with some of her group toward the coast. She thinks of the land bridges that used to connect the islands off the coast, her nobility, and the demon-kissed children that would either become witches or be thrown into the ocean. She wishes the Letheri had completely wiped the Shake out, but since they didn't, she did her best to recruit anyone with even a little Shake blood into her battalion. Eventually, she comes across tracks that lead her to the Master of Arms, Yedin Derieg, the Watch, her half-brother. Over a ridge, they see a glow. They see hundreds of ships burning off the shore. Twilight recognizes the ships. The Malazans are on our shore.
So we catch up with Brol Handar and Atri Preda Bivat, getting ready, they think, to fight the All in a couple of days, because they see their camp across the valley. And Brol Handar is like, hey, this seems off. And Bivat's like, nah, it's fine. It's all good. We're good. And then they continue to do that every time they're back on screen, which is just like really funny, because we know that that's not the actual All camp. We'll get back to that later, though, when that fully comes to fruition in this chapter. This is finally the section that I've been trying to come to.
Yeah,
every time we see
I figured this was the section you were trying to talk about.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to talk about it. It's just the section I kept thinking was the section. Tok gets approached by this All Elder, and it's just like, hey, fuck you. Basically, just tells him to get fucked.
Well, I think he's like, hey, fuck you.
You're colonizing us.
Yeah, you not only are you doing colonizing, but also like, are you just like some perpetual warrior? And now here you are, like you're just a forever soldier, and here you are teaching us how to be soldiers and destroying our way of life, Fucking calling him out,
Yeah, and I think, honestly, fully justified.
That's what I mean. It's like one of those things where it's like, I like Tok a lot, but like, I don't know, are you wrong? Is he wrong?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a unique perspective for the All, because like all of their elders are dead pretty much except for this dude.
Sure.
Who is seen, who I think is the only one that saw Red Mask's sister be murdered, who's still alive.
Yeah, he's like the old
yeah.
one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it, you know, resistant to change and stuff, but who's to say what change is good and who brings about that change? Anyway, we move on. Hedge catches up with this Talanimas who is from the Kron Talanimas, which I don't remember what that means. I know it's a clan, but I don't remember which clan was the one that was with the Empire and which clan was the one that wasn't and all that. The Logros were the ones that were with the Empire.
Yes.
And the Kron are the other ones.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Okay.
They're also big and important, but different.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. They're the ones that show up at the end of Midnight or Memories of Ice.
Yes, they were one of the big ones who like fell in with Silver Fox and then was like,
yeah, okay.
What's up? You know?
Right.
So
her name is Emroth, and Hedge pretty much just badgers her until she decides to talk to him.
Yeah. A ghost and a skeleton talking in the snowy wasteland.
Yeah, pretty much. And then they reach what I think they say is Omtos Falak, right? And then she says home is on the other side, which I guess means we're gonna cross. We're fucking crossing Omtos Falak.
Maybe.
Is that right to assume? India, what do you think? If you died and were a ghost and met a skeleton person, they said, "Hey, we're gonna cross the coldest place to ever exist." Would you do it?
Yeah, because I'm a ghost.
Because she's a bad bitch, all right? AJ, don't fucking step to her.
Does he even feel cold?
It's a good question. I don't know the ghost physics in this world.
I want to talk about the next section, which absolutely rules.
Yes.
It's just an awesome dream sequence, and I feel a great follow-up to, you know, Udonis's character, a follow-up on, obviously, like, his grief, his emotions he's going through, a follow-up on his assault from book 5.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just like this kind of dreamy, crazy imagery that I also think is really powerful and really, really moved me. I really love this section. I really love the section conversation with Kettle about grief and constructing it and trying to, like, I guess, like having the power to banish it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I can articulate it as well as the story did. So I think the story did a good job. And that's what I'm trying to say. So if you wanted to know, you should maybe read the paragraph reflected how I felt. So I like the dream. The dream was good. Okay.
Yeah. The dream is really good. I think I do just kind of want to, can I just read the paragraph?
Do it.
I want to read this, this Kettle grief paragraph.
I'm all in.
So Udonis's dream, he sees a fallen temple, and then there's the whole thing that happens. And then he wakes up into another dream sitting around a fire with Kettle. And they talk about the dream. And she says, that temple, it couldn't have held all those souls, all that grief. It was broken, and that's why it fell over. That was what you were supposed to see, so you'd understand when everything happens and not be sad, and be able to do what he wants you to do, just not in the way he thought it would be. That's all. And that's like the I guess base level or the surface of that text is like about the crippled god and stuff, but I don't think it takes too much scratching into the subtext to think about, like, you know, if you think about the place in your body that holds your grief, it can only hold so much before it, you know, tumbles down. And you need to be ready to deal with it and to cry and, you know, feel those feelings, but don't feel it too soon. I don't know if that part carries over to the to the imagery of not crying too soon, but yeah, it's just really. Was that the section you were talking about, Pete?
That section, and I also love when he's talking to like Menandere and the Aaron in the temple, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna fucking." He's like, "This is my mind. I like have the power, and like I have the autonomy. I'm gonna banish you. This is like I can do this. This is my power." And they're like, "No, you can't do this." And he's like, "No, like I can.
I can, and I will.
And like I can, and I'm taking this step to try and like make that decision for myself." And I found that to be very inspiring and admirable, you know?
Yeah. We're doing some processing.
I mean, I know life's not, you can't just blow up temple drama in a temple in your mind all the time, but you know, I think it's like I really like this dream sequence, you know.
I think it was really good. I agree. And then we zoom out of Udonis's mind and see that they are still in the Blue Rose Mountains. It's cold as shit.
Yeah.
Udonis is very sick.
Yeah, he's really fevering.
He had a fever dream.
Big old fever dream. But was it a dream?
Was it a dream?
Is it
But
ever
also-
with Udanas? Is it ever a dream?
Yeah, for real.
Remember when Udanas fathered a child?
That was brought up a lot in this, you know?
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like
yeah.
I'm not really hung up on the plot part of it, but also I do think that dream sequence is somewhat supposed to be like, don't forget, like there's this kid, and he had like the kid hasn't, and now the kid's an adult now, and like, you know.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about it though. I did. So
I'm sure you did. I mean, it's a totally random thing, I think, in book 5 when they go to the refugerium and are like, hey, the kid's here, you know?
Right.
Let's
He's just like with
leave
some
this,
Talana
you know?
mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very weird stuff. So they're all cold, and then Silchus Ruin says he thinks that Udanas is are afflicted by Kachane Shamal sorcery, which does not bode well, I think, for the destination of this mountain, because, like, I don't know how magic works, I guess, but it seems like you need to be kind of near where you're doing the magic, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess, if I had to venture a guess, at the top of this mountain, there's some fucking dinosaurs up there, baby.
Something spooky.
Something spooky, scary.
dragon bones.
Yeah, there's gonna be more dragon bones.
Just more dragon bones.
More dragon bones. We're going to get up there and everyone's going to be like, wow, I wonder what this is.
I wonder what these dragon bones mean.
I wonder what happened to these dragon bones.
Look at this crushed rib cage.
Literally.
I wonder how it died.
And so Saren finds this spear, right? And is
Okay.
like, I don't know what the fuck this is. And Clip is like, oh, that belongs to the Talani Mess. And Saren's like, the who? Which I thought was pretty funny, because I forgot that Saren is not from Getabakis. And I guess the Talani Mess aren't really a thing over
The
here
who?
on this continent.
The what was that? What did you say?
Should I know who they are? And as with all fucking Talani mass weapons, Silchus Ruin is like, hey, you're just borrowing that. You're going to have to give it back.
Yeah. And then they're like talking about spear fighters.
Yes, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was very funny. And hey, Udanas makes Fear laughs. I don't remember who makes the joke. Was it Clip, I guess?
Yeah, I think Clip
Or does-
says it and then they all kind of laugh about it.
We got some levity, you know. We're all friends. We're bonding, you know.
We're
It's
all
a good
bonding,
time.
remember? We all remember your dead brother. That's funny.
Haha.
India, did you want to say anything about that section?
Um,
About the coldness?
the coldness.
The cold. They're on the mountain, so it's cold, and they got the spear.
I just feel I feel bad for Udanas. I hate Clip.
You hate Clip. What's up, bro?
You guys like Clip?
What's wrong with Clip?
I mean,
Don't you think
I
he's
think
kind of
he's-
a little sassy, a little fun?
that's why I don't like him. I think he's annoying. I think he's rude.
I'm not saying he's not rude, but maybe you can be rude and fun sometimes, you know?
Well, I am rude and fun.
See, that's what I'm saying, Inge. I'm like, I've seen Inge be a little...
Pete just fully baited you into that.
Are you trying to tell me that maybe, I don't know, Peter. I don't know. You're right. I am. Maybe I should look at this from a different perspective. Maybe I'm personifying Clip onto myself. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't think you're a lot like Clip, but...
Me and Clip are one and the same. I am also a wizard of
The
war.
black on it. We've really taken a sharp turn for a few seconds to you declaring you and Clip are the same person. But
India, maybe you should get some rings that you spin around. I think people would really. There you go.
I have rings that I spin around.
I did like the moment where Clip was like, yeah, I bang all the time. Maybe it's when I like talking about how much he has kids or whatever, you know. I was like, it was like fucking get a hold of yourself, buddy, you know.
So then we move on to Quick Ben thinking about how friends bring pain. Very sad boy. And they're being chased once again by these fucking catfish.
Yeah.
So funny.
Which, Pete, can you clarify?
Yeah.
Is this? I don't remember where. Like, I remember seeing the catfish with Trull and Onrak. I think we saw the fish with Crocus and them, and now we see them here. Is that all the same place? Is that all the same Warren?
I don't think
or whatever.
Crocus sees the fish.
Doesn't their whole shit get wrecked? And that's how they end up on the island of Traveler.
No, I think the
or
first time you
whatever?
see the fish is when Carso wrestles with the fish in book 4.
Okay.
Maybe they're described in book 2, but then there's much more detail about the giant catfish in book 5 because
Yeah.
they're in the river that the demon's from, that the demon, I forget the name. And then they're
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
well, like, what if we take this river and flood a world with it? And now we're seeing them here again. So
Okay, so it's not all the same place.
I have no comment about that.
No
I'm
comment.
just talking
Okay,
about the
sure.
catfish.
Fair enough.
But we've certainly seen giant catfish before.
We have seen giant catfish, yeah. And so before they're eaten by this said giant catfish, they go through this gate. And what's that? Oh, your boy Omrak? Psh, fool's got skin. He's got skin. He can breathe.
He's got skin now. He loves breathing.
What the fuck? Geez. The events in these chapters hit me in waves. Like the Featherwitch shit. This especially. And then the part later with Twilight.
He sounds kind of hot, doesn't he?
Wow. I was not, not to me, but.
Bronze skin, green eyes, little PV in the summer.
Hot.
Little PV in the summer action.
PV in the summer. Yeah, I guess in my mind, I just still, like, it's hard for me not to imagine him as a skeleton man. Do you know what I mean? But.
Yeah, I had that same problem with Tool at the end of Memories of Ice. I'm like, you're still just a skeleton. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when they're like, he's a real boy now, you know?
Wild stuff. And it's so thinking about Omrak's, I guess, journey up until this book. It's like he has slowly been becoming like less Talane Mass in terms of like emotionally, I guess, and mentally and stuff. Like he feels anger in the last book. You know, he feels obviously some compassion or some sort of, you know, friendship or brotherhood relationship or something with Trull. And now these changes have been personified where he is fully like almost as far from being a Talane Mass as you could be with fucking skin and being able to breathe. So
muscular. Of course, he comes back muscular.
Yeah. I mean, you see all the fighting he does, India.
Bronze, green eyes.
Uh-oh.
We're in trouble.
We'll have to start like an Onrak thirst corner or something every time Onrak comes up.
A new bone zone, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. The name still works.
The name does still work. So that happens. Blew my fucking head open. India, did you have any more thoughts about that?
Oh, get it. Was it the Warren that did it?
So from my understanding, where they ended up is apparently Talan.
Yeah, because that's what he says, Talan.
Right, which is the Warren. I feel like Josh would have a better answer for this. I don't fully understand it. But when they like do the ritual that turned them into bone people, that's the ritual of Talan. So yes. I don't know if that like if that ritual created the Warren, so that is where all of their souls and stuff are, so that when you go back to that Warren, maybe that's why your skin comes back. Pete, can you confirm nor deny?
A lot of what you said, I would not say is the hottest, is the correct. So
okay, that's fine. That's just where my
some
understanding
of what you said
right
is
now.
correct, but
yeah, they are pretty sure that they're into land, which for some reason gives Onrak his skin back.
Fair.
And then, okay, this is it. Okay. We go from being in Talan to unknowingly talking about Talan, where Red Mask is telling this story about the Valley of Drums, Bast Fulmer, if you will.
Oh, sure,
which is where the battle is going to take place. And he talks about the Shamans of Antlers, which I did not realize until I was writing the scripts, are the Talana Mass, or were the IMAS, right? Is that
the Talana
before they were both?
Well, I guess they were I know. So yes, you were correct. They were IMAS there. Then the ritual is what
turned them into the Talana Mass. Okay,
and scarred this valley.
Yes. So this valley is where the ritual of Talan happened.
Well, one ritual of Talan. There were multiple. That's
right.
That's my understanding is that like there were multiple that like different tribes or like peoples of the Talan the MS did the same ritual, but because I don't think there was one super ritual, but I could be wrong. So tweet at me.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the ritual a lot, and
I just think I think there were multiple, is my understanding, but I could be wrong. Okay. Once again, let me know.
Yeah. So this is at the very least where a ritual of Talan took place, which sucked all the magic out of that space, and for some reason. So that is why Red Mask chose to have the battle here, is because he knew that the Lethri had. Or I guess maybe Tak told him, I don't know whose strategy that was, but obviously nullifies the Krishnan magic in the entire battle. And then we have a big fight. Oh, no, we don't. No, you know what? We're already here. Let's talk about the fight, and then we'll talk about Twilight's whole stuff.
Okay, cool.
So then we got this whole freaking big ass battle scene, and we haven't had one of those in a hot second. I don't think.
Kind of an unexpected battle. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, the book spends an entire page and a half talking about the positions of all of these different deployments of soldiers and like their proper titles and everything. And I'm like, man, if I was into fucking high fantasy war stuff, I guess I would be eating this up.
See, and that's the
man,
thing. I always do feel when you get into these sections, maybe the gaming origins show itself a little bit. Because I do always feel like there's information where it's like either how many types of whatever, like how many of what type of soldiers are where. Is like all of this information is included, which I know some people really vibe with. I've always, it's not my bag, but whatever. I don't really, it doesn't really detract, to be honest.
I really didn't like it in the moment. But then as the battle went on, I was like, I guess this kind of illustrates like no matter how organized the Lethery people are, they're still not actually that capable in battles. I guess I don't really know. Like, I don't really know. It's complicated too because the Eater and the Lethery are kind of merged and stuff. So like the mages and whatnot that they would be using are now on their side. But I guess it kind of also maybe goes to show that like now that the Eater are here and they have the magic, their military is kind of slacking now because they have this fucking awful, magic stuff.
How did you feel about following Brol Hanadar? Because now that India's in the bathroom, little Peter and AJ podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was fine. I kind of felt bad for the dude because the whole time he was like, I don't know. I think it's maybe something else. And the Bivat was like, nah, it's fine.
I felt more invested in him than I kind of expected I would be, to be honest.
I was more invested in him here just in terms of like, oh, bummer. Like I had feelings about him, I guess, which I didn't really have throughout the rest of this book. I was like, this dude kind of stinks. But here I was like, oof, this kind of sucks for him. Did you have feelings for this man?
No, I wouldn't say he's a super fleshed out character, but I had more feelings than I thought. And that's all I was really remarking on,
Yeah.
I was definitely did not want him to eat the, I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't bite it. I was swept up in the moment. It was working is what I'm saying,
We're moving on to the Kachain Shamal. The Kachain Shamal section of the battle.
Yes.
Sag Chirac Gunthmok.
Didn't we do something where like we said something about Sag Chirac and Gunthmok? They're such great names, but
you were just saying Sag Chirac Gunthmok. Sag Chirac. You were just
something like that, I guess.
And predictably does not go well for the gang. It does not go well for the gang.
Yeah, these things are pretty fucking wild now, aren't they?
Yeah. And honestly, I was surprised that Red Mask allowed them to retreat.
Hi.
India's back. Hello. So India, Pete and I were just talking about the battle and how they spent a lot of time talking about like the exact placement of all of these soldiers and stuff. What'd you think about this battle? It really was going pretty bad.
Yeah, and as we all know, I really hate battle scenes. I think they're usually very boring. And I guess, did you guys like this one? Are you guys super into it?
I wasn't super into it. I think it was okay.
Yeah, they're just not my favorite scenes. I find them like, I don't know, hard to read and like.
Yeah, this is a well documented India opinion intake.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was fine. I don't really have a lot of thoughts about it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a particularly good battle or anything, but so the Lethery retreat, Red Mask feels like he's had a great success, and that's the last we see of that. And let's hop, I guess, back, and then we'll just talk right through it. All the Twilight stuff. Twilight arrives at Boral Keep, sees some Shake witches, Pulley and Squish, which are
Pulley and
really
Squish
good names. Really, really good names. And Pete, I think I'm going to ask you to take some of the reins here because like this part kind of confused me a bit. They Pulley and Shake Squish say some stuff. They have Talon.
So they're witches.
Yes.
As we all know.
Yeah. They explain that Twilight is a princess, but now a queen.
She's the queen.
Her mom died.
Yes. And these witches have kind of been cursing the leader, the Lethery.
Okay.
And then Twilight has a half-brother.
Yes.
The best boyfriend number 1, Yedin Derrig. And he's part of the Watch, so he just hangs out and watches. That's his thing.
Yes.
And
so his name is not the Watch.
No, there's like kind of a position. You'll see. It's a thing. He watches.
Because that's what
That's his.
I was kind of confused if his whole group was called the Watch, or if he himself was the Watch, or whatever. But okay, if it gets cleared up, that's fine.
So I think that should clear it up. Yeah, there's some other stuff.
That's pretty much good. I was just the way that the Pulley and Squish were talking was kind of throwing me for a loop a bit. Like I totally missed they were cursing the leader of the Lethari. I thought that they were like, I don't know, somehow their own. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So Twilight is the queen now and is apparently betrothed to Sheikh Bulliag, who Shirk is trying to go see. So that's a fun overlap. If we get some Twilight Shirk action, that's great. I'm very excited for that. But India, what did you think? What did you think about this? Twilight's a queen now. She's not just a soldier.
That came out of left field. Am I right?
Yeah,
Who
I feel
saw
like
coming?
there's a big lore dump of a bunch of what sheiks are and stuff.
I don't know what a sheikh is. Does anyone?
It's these people.
I know it's a type of person.
Yeah,
yes,
that's all
like,
it is. Yeah.
They've got witches.
Yeah, so I feel like
They're cool.
I don't know. Will that change anything about like her current position, and will she have to stay ever? Will she go back?
Yes,
Did she
I
know
think-
she was a sheikh?
Yes, so she definitely knew she was a sheik. And when she's talking about like when she's giving the kind of lore dump of like what the sheiks are and what has happened, she says she wishes that the Lethari like completely wiped out the sheik. For reasons that I'm kind of unclear why, but since they didn't, she has tried her best to make her whole battalion, like all of her soldiers and the people that work under her, have at least some sheik blood in them, which I don't know how I don't know how you confirm such a thing. So I guess now that she's kind of queen and she's met up with her half brother who is the Watch and stuff, I don't know if she's just going to be like, hey, everybody who works for me with the Lethari, we're the sheik army now because you all have some sheik blood.
Right.
I'm not fully sure if that's what's going to happen or what. But I guess that's on the table now.
I just feel glad that we can at least get to the Sheik stuff, and you can know that Twilight's related to the Sheik stuff. Because when Twilight's just has been off on like nowhere land,
yeah,
I've just felt like, oh, it's like we're here finally. You can understand Twilight rules. That's her thing.
Yeah, well, when we first met Twilight in Midnight Tides, and she sees the sea demon do its thing, I was like, this general whatever,
Yeah.
we're never going to meet them, they're going to die.
Exactly. And I was there.
egg on my face.
Because I went on a similar thing, but I was like, fuck yeah, Twilight's here. It's time. But,
Yeah.
That's what happens when characters are across multiple books. So,
Yeah. And I guess before we finish off the end of this chapter, just one more clarification, Pete.
sure.
I don't know. You feel free to no comment, I guess, but why do some of them have demon blood?
No comment. That's
Okay.
I don't really want to talk about more details about the Sheik, but
Okay, because man, that was confusing.
it just
That some of them had demon blood,
just
but
feels like
too
we
much
should-
blood would.
we should let it grow. It's like we're just learning.
Yeah,
we're
fair
just
enough.
getting to learn the Sheik.
Fair enough. Yeah, I wasn't sure how deep we were going to get, and I don't know why I would assume we wouldn't get any deeper. But okay, cool.
I want to ask you guys this. Getting to the end of the show, Josh isn't here.
What's your least favorite thing about Josh?
What's your least favorite thing about Josh? India, you go first. Josh doesn't even listen. I think we could, but
Josh, if you listen to this, I'll Venmo you $20.
nice. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, me too.
please, I will not do that. That is not someone. Anyway, well, what I want to ask was, the Malazans are coming. The Malazans are coming.
Yeah. So there's a fire over the ridge. They see a bunch of ships on fire, and the Malazan have arrived.
So-
the Malazans are on our shore.
So what do you think? The Malazan are on our shore.
They finally come to bring some order.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like obviously pretty ominous. And just to be clear, their ships were on fire, right?
If there's one thing that's a cure for empire, it's more empire. That was a dodge. That was a dodge for your question. If that was the answer. So now
You can't tell me. Okay.
now that we are going into, a lot of the times I'm just not answering your questions for fun. Just so you know.
Okay.
Just so you know. What I wanted to ask was, so India, we were talking about this earlier. You felt like maybe that the Malazans entering the book is going to kind of change the rhythm of the book or the pacing of the book?
Yes. Here's what's going to happen. Right now, we have like 5 different armies, and it's just like, okay. I feel like the Malazans. Wait, hello. Which Malazan? Are these like, what's her name?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
I think it is.
I think it's, I think
Tavor.
what's her name?
Tavor and the Bone Hunters.
That's it, Tavor. Damn. I think it's Tavor and crew, and I think that they are going to, I don't know. I don't even know what they're doing there. They're just fleeing. So who are they going to flee to? Where are they going to flee to? Are they going to have to fight because people want to kill them? There's a lot of moving parts here, to be honest. I have no fucking idea who are they landing near?
So they're on the coast. I actually didn't. That's a good time to check the map. They're on the coast near Boral Keep.
Ooh, so they're going to meet Twilight.
Yeah. I mean, or at least Twilight's going to watch them do whatever they're going to do.
Maybe they're going to be like, hey, we'll come with you guys.
Hey, maybe. You know what? Maybe.
Chaos ensues. That's what's going to happen, Peter.
Yeah.
AJ, do you have anything to add?
No, so I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna cut over to the Malazan point of view in the beginning of the next book, and it's gonna be like, oh fuck, we just traveled through this warren, but we fucked it up, and where are we? I don't even know where we ended up. Like, it's gonna be like a complete accident that they show up on Lethris, and that's why their ships are on fire. But Pete won't tell me whether the ships are actually on fire or not. So that's what I think happened. They tried to travel through the Imperial Warren and weren't sure where they're going to end up because the Imperial Warren's on fire or something, maybe. I don't know. But I think it was an accident. I don't think they're here on purpose.
Well, I guess we'll see. Mm-hmm. So next episode, I'm back to hosting, baby. Chapters 13 and 14, we've completed this cycle.
Yeah, we've done it. What a quick check-in. What do you guys think? How are you feeling?
How do you feel, Inge?
I'm feeling exhausted. This book is good, though. It's a pretty good book. I like it a lot.
How do you feel about this host and switch up?
I love the hosting switch up, kind of. I think it's fun.
How do you feel, AJ? I know you were a little nervous about today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just personally nervous. I think it was fine. No, I feel like how I assume you feel is once we finish recording, I'll be like, man, that stunk. And then I'll edit it and it'll just be a perfectly normal episode.
Yeah. I feel that I've walked away from so many episodes being like, well, that one was a total bummer. That was a waste of space. And then I listen and I'm like, I don't know. It was about normal.
Yeah, it's a pretty average episode.
Yeah.
So I feel like our record's pretty good with average episodes.
Yeah, I agree. We somewhat had low. I don't feel like this is going to be the episode 2. I feel like we are a little low energy today.
I don't think these chapters were that great though. Like
that's how I feel. I know you were super hot on them, AJ. I feel like this was just normal. Like, we're halfway through
building.
We're halfway through the book. People are talking to other people about why life sucks, and there's a quest, and we're gonna learn about why an army went somewhere.
I don't know. There were just so many moments in these chapters where I was like, "What?" Like multiple. It was not just like 1 or 2, like 5 or 6. Like just things kept happening that I was like, "What the fuck?" Like
AJ, I'm glad you're vibing. I'm not trying to take it away from you.
Thanks, pal. Thanks.
So,
but I'm liking the hosting switch up. I think it's a good time. I haven't edited Josh's episode yet, but I'm assuming that'll be also as exciting as India's was.
Yeah, and we've received some feedback, and I think we're probably going to do at least this through this season, but definitely we're going to be interested in hearing what everyone has to say.
Yeah, thank you for everyone.
Going into book 8, I feel like that'll be a cleaner time to decide whether we want to keep doing this or kind of go back to.
Yeah, thank you for everybody on the Discord and stuff who has given feedback. Everyone is being very, very kind and warm and welcoming to India's hosting. So hopefully that continues throughout the next. But hey, if you hate Josh and I talking, then let us know and we'll switch it up maybe. But other than that, the Malazans are on our shores, baby.
The Malazans are on our shores.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. When I say Gaba, you say Ghoul. Gaba.
Ghoul.